Jeff Bradford, we can hardly wait. Come on, knock our socks off.
Okay. Hey, well, let's get, excuse me, let's go and get started. And this is a relatively small group. So if you have questions as I'm doing the presentation, um, you don't have to raise your hand, just speak up and we can try to answer your question right when you have it. So so let me give you some background on this presentation. Um, our software is not a typical form filling software. So it's not like ClickForms, if you're using ClickForms, which is it helps you fill out a form. Um, and so we looked at what was happening and we said, this is a really good time because GSEs are completely changing everything, right? The forms went away and we now have a dynamic report. And it's a report, it's not a form. And so I said, there's a really good opportunity to think about what we really want to do to help appraisers. And it's not help appraisers in 2026. It's how do we help an appraiser in 2030? So it started with what is our vision for 2030? And then we ran into a buzzsaw, and the GSEs said, well, for a traditional appraisal, that appraiser has to do everything themselves, right? That's the traditional way. They do the inspection, they do the report, and maybe they have some office help or whatever, but they're inspecting the property and all the time that it takes and whatever. And so we said, okay, so those are our constraints. And so we thought, okay, how do we do this? And we thought a lot, and we went down a lot of rabbit holes and whatnot. And we just said, there's a few things that we need to do. And the main thing is we need to build efficiency because that appraiser has to be super, super, super efficient. And that was the key. And so the title of this presentation used to be The Future of Appraisal Software. But it really is, how do we find efficiency in our work process? And so I want to tell you a story here. Uh, let's see here. So this guy here is Henry Ford. And when Henry Ford was having dreams about building a big car company and whatnot, the regulators came in and said, we don't trust anybody to be working on your car. We want the brakes to work and we want the steering wheel to work, and we only trust you. And so you have to build every car, right? So Henry started building every car in his workshop. And that's a picture of Henry building his Ford Model T. And unfortunately, Henry was just never able to build enough of these to create that huge car company, right? And so he died a poor uh, a poor man. He had quality cars, but he could only do so many. And and that was the regulators, and they said, you have to just do things the traditional way, right? So the good news is that Henry didn't have somebody telling him that he had to do everything himself. And he actually ended up building his factory, right? And so he could hire a whole bunch of people to help him build these cars, and he could manufacture all these guys, and he had an assembly line, and he just started mass producing these cars. And so today, the Ford factory looks like this, right? And this is where they build the F-150. And you can see that there's robots in there, and there's people in there, and there's an assembly line, and it's very, very efficient. And so if you look at that, you think, how efficient are they? They produce a Ford F-150 every 53 seconds. One of those guys rolls off the assembly line every 53 seconds. That's how efficient they are. And my point in telling you this story is that you can combine quality and speed if you're efficient. And so that was a premise of what we decided to build, is how do we build efficiency into the appraisal process? And it all starts with teams outperform individuals. So you're going to do everything yourself. You're going to do one a day, two a day, something like that. You're going to burn out. When you take a vacation, you're not going to make any money. You know, all those things when you're a sole proprietor. If you're a team, then, you know, things still happen even though you're not there. So this was the premise, right? Teams outperform individuals. And so who's your team? Who is your team going to be? And so I just want to put this out there. So as we're going through the presentation, you can keep this in mind. Your team is going to be technology, right? Who you pick for your software provider, what hardware you pick to help you be more efficient. This is the technology part. Each one of these is going to help you be less efficient or more efficient or medium efficient or whatever, right? So picking the right ones, really, really important. The other one, the one in the middle, is artificial intelligence. Now we know this stuff is just growing like weeds. And every month, something new comes out. But the things that are coming out that are truly going to be part of your life, your business life at least, is AI agents. Because these little guys are going to become assistants in the cloud. And they're going to do things for you along the way, along that appraisal process way. And then the third one is what we normally think of is there's people that are going to be assistants. And so each one of these are going to play a role in helping you be really, really efficient so you can produce appraisals much, much faster and maybe even at a higher quality quotient out there. So just kind of keep this in mind as we go through there, okay? Now, so when we were looking at all this, we said, what does the appraisal of 2030 look like? And so we're in 2026, and we were trying to forecast out to 2030. And I will tell you that that what I'm going to be telling you here is all business related. So from our point of view, this is why we did it, because one, we want to help the appraiser really knock the socks off of appraising by 2030, but we also want to stay in business. And so what do, right? And so we kind of forecast out there. So this is our timeline, and we'll start right here. And so I want to tell you, these are 3 trends that you want to remember. So when you say, oh, my computer's not fast enough, well, wait a year. It's going to be fast enough. Or you say, oh, there's no internet connectivity where I live. Wait a year. Starlink's going to be there, or somebody else's satellite's going to be there, and you're going to be connected. So those 2 things are not going to be issues. And then the other one is artificial intelligence. It is really, really hard to predict where this is going to come into play. Um, when we really dream, it's everywhere. When we just like spot check it, it can be as simple as checking your sales contract, right? Doesn't save you a lot of time, but maybe it saves you 10 minutes on every appraisal. And if you have to do, let's say, 100 things on every appraisal, and each one takes 10 minutes, but you can turn those 10 minutes into 15 seconds, you just saved a lot of time, right? So this is where these guys are coming in. So just keep these trends in mind. Artificial intelligence is going to be there, and then the hardware is going to be there, and connectivity is going to be there. Okay.
So Jeff, may I ask, the new software that you're going to show us in a little bit, and all the other appraisal software companies that are emerging, or the legacy software companies that are emerging, how does an appraiser get insight into what AI they're utilizing, or what AI you decided to use
Hmm.
to stay current and to choose the software that is best to actually make that happen? Because I can tell you, I'm looking at this list: L&M Stack, Howie, Realist, UPath, Jigsaw. I don't know what the hell any of them are, right?
Right.
So, and I think everyone here is looking at it going, I don't know what the hell any of these are. So, how does an appraiser know which ones you're using, which ones they should be using, which ones help? I mean, it
Yeah,
is mind blowing to me, Jeff.
it is. It is mind-blowing. And I show this because AI agents are exploding everywhere because they're being embedded in every business you can imagine.
Yeah,
So it's going to happen in appraising. Now, is it going to be one of these guys? Probably not. We might create our own, right? We might create our own. We might um, subscribe to one that's already working and make it work for us. So I don't know. Um, but you're asking a question that um, this is where you have to work with your software vendor,
yes.
ask the right questions, and if the software is doing what you want it to do, and you trust the software vendor, then you're good to go. It's going to be pretty much that simple. Where I run into problems, and I'm going to digress for just a bit. Where I run into issues is people saying, "Oh, you got to learn it, and you got to do this, you got to do that, whatever, whatever, whatever," right? And you can try to build all this stuff yourself, and if you have a lot of fun doing it, I say knock yourself out doing it. But from my point of view, um, and this is why we did not build a business out of this, because we tried this back in 2015 to do a lot of deep learning. And so we said, that's not in our business. We're going to let companies that are in that business do it, and then we'll buy their service. And so that's kind of where this AI service is. There's people that are really, really good at it, and you want to leverage that. So if people want to do it themselves, I think, go for it. But the people who are really, really good at it and offer a service that we can customize for appraising, um, those people who use our service are going to be ahead of the game because they didn't have to spend all that time finagling and doing this or doing that. Now, I
That's
think
great. Great
artificial
insight.
intelligence is really good. If you want to create a business plan with ChatGPT or marketing or stuff like that. But when it comes to actually doing the appraisal or being part of the appraisal, I think you could be asking for trouble. So let me let me go forward. So okay, so kind of lost track. Let me go back. So to start with, we wanted to do a 5-year projection, right? And we said, these are the trends that we need to keep in mind because computers are going to get faster, internet connectivity is going to be there, and artificial intelligence is going to be there. And and probably every 6 months, we are going to be adding new things, improving new things, throwing out the old, putting in the new. It's just going to be continually brand new stuff that we're going to do with artificial intelligence. But these are the three trends that are going to be constant in these 5 years. So let's talk about 2026. This is kind of where we're at, right? The GSEs have said November 2nd is a mandate. Okay, everybody has to do UAD 3.6. They're going to submit an appraisal to them that has to be in this UAD format. But FHA, VA, USDA said not so fast. And I just heard from the VA that they're not going to mandate it. So if an appraiser does not want to switch over to 3.6 and stay with the old version, they can do that. The VA will allow them to do that. Now, will FHA do that? Will USDA do that? I don't know. But it's kind of we're going to be in this year of, I call it, just state of flux. Software vendors aren't ready yet. A few of them are, a few of them are not. And so where's all that going to be? So if we look at the number of UADs that are going to be done, we can see here on the left-hand side that in January we were still at 100% 1004s, but in November 2nd, GSEs expect 100% of the reports going to them to be UAD. So somewhere in May there's going to be the crossover, right, of 1004s to UAD, and we said, okay. So when does software have to be ready? Well, for sure in this half over here. But in reality, things are on a slow start. And so there's less UADs happening, but they're still going to be 100% November 2nd. GSE is not budging. And then on the 1004s, there's a lot more 1004s than there are UADs, right? I think somebody told me the other day they thought only about 30 UADs had been done to date. I think that's a low number, but let's say it's only 100, right? You're still pretty low down here. So we said, okay, that's the forecast. Now, how does that help us? Well, we follow this technology adoption life cycle, and it says that there's early adopters in the beginning, and these guys were the first ones to have an iPhone or a digital camera. And then there's early adopters, early majority, late majority, laggards, right? And this takes whatever time that takes, a long time, years, whatever. The guys who start over here, if you're looking for ROI, they have the highest ROI. They invested early. They learned early, okay? So that's the technology adoption life cycle. And when you superimpose that on this and you just say, this is where it's starting, this is where it's ending, what does this look like? Well, it looks like right in here is where most of the action is going to happen because there's only 2 months here, right at the end. And if you don't know what you're doing toward these last 2 months, you're in this laggard part. And so you're scrambling. These guys over here, they got their eggs and ducks lined up. And everybody's kind of cooking, right? Now, maybe not so much in April, but for sure in May and through August and in this quarter right here. So this is a critical time. Now, let me just tell you that somebody told me this, and I'll just mention it to you guys. There's a gold rush that's coming. And here's what I mean by gold rush. The first gold rush that happened was when the PC was introduced. There was 36 software vendors out there selling appraisal form filling software. This lasted for about a 6-year period. And we were actually the last ones to enter with a product called Mac Appraiser for the Macintosh. But this was a gold rush. There's 36 companies selling appraisal software. Today, there's 4. There's going to be more, but today there's 4. The second gold rush was when COVID hit, and everybody wanted to create an app so that the appraiser could talk to the homeowner and the homeowner could do the inspection, right? And so there was all these guys who spent a lot of money, came into the market. We were one of them. But now, excuse me, now we have UAD. And the world blew up because the GSC said you got to have great brand new software. And so right now, here's a list of all the companies that are creating software. And I don't think I have them all. There's probably 20, maybe even 25 companies that are spending money creating software to sell you some software, okay? Sell you an app. Now, those products are divided up into these 4 categories. So there's the report producers, and these guys are the ones that, for lack of a better term, they're form fillers. They you fill out the form or the report, and you click a button, you say produce PDF. Then there's companies over here that I call them full appraisal producers. So they're taking the appraisal process from start to finish, and then they'll produce a report for you automatically. And then you have your data analysis guys. This is like Solomon, Spark, DataMaster, True Footage. I can't think of anything else, but that's these guys. And they're tooling up to be part of UAD. And then you have the inspection apps. And everybody says, oh, everybody has to go mobile, right? And so I'm going to build a mobile app. And so we hear about these guys all the time. And so there's a bunch of these guys coming in. Now, so it's going to be crowded. And so you want to kind of keep in mind that these are the 4 categories, okay? And you want to ask yourself, okay, in this category, which is the app that does what I want it to do, helps me the most? What's the most efficient? How does it make me more efficient, right? An inspection app, there's going to be a lot of them. Everybody has a different way of doing it. Everybody has their competitive advantage, but which one works the way you want it to work, right? And then report producers over here. What I heard the most was that we don't want to change the way appraisers work. So we're going to keep it the way it is. And so if you've been filling out a form, now you're going to fill out a report. It's like, okay, very little change, very little training. Over here,
Is that the legacy providers that many of the appraisals here with us are familiar with, Jeff? Are you referring to ACI? Are you referring to
well, Dory,
Alamo? What are you referring to?
Dory, I'm not going to name names here. I just,
Okay.
I
But
just
I
told
just
you.
I want to put it in um, practical context for everyone who's here.
Sure. So anyway, these are the 4 categories, okay? And so kind of keep these in mind. And so here's the deal. For all the software vendors, their opportunity is right in this period right here. So this is our opportunity to show software to you. We have, I think, till August. And if we don't do it in August, we might be out of business. Over here, these other companies have already been verified. They're selling, they're good to go. Anybody that's new, if they don't have a product in this area, chances are they're not going to make it either. So we'll just see what happens. But I'm telling you all this because this is what we do when we plan our business. We said, what are our opportunities out there? And when are our opportunities available to us? This is it right here. So if you want a good deal, this is the time to haggle. Uh, oh, actually, and if you want to make a lot of money, you know, or if you want to keep somebody in business and get a good deal, this is another time to do it. Okay, let me move on here. So let me just summarize this. This is 2026, right? So there's a lot of things that are in flux, a lot of new softwares coming on the market, and what are you going to do? Well, you can start testing the ones that are available. You can take the UAD classes so you know what to test for when you try these companies out. The more prepared you are, the better you're going to be. And this holds true for the innovator class, the early adopter class, even early majority. You don't want to be in the late majority, and you definitely don't want to be in the laggard category over here. Okay, so that's kind of the word to the wise of this. Business-wise for us, this is our opportunity right in this time period. Okay, now that's 2026. Let's go to 2027. What's going to happen here? And so we started looking at this and we said, this is when mobile technology is adopted. Because right now, you probably can talk to a lot of appraisers and say, you know, I don't want to go mobile. I don't need mobile, you know, all the negative things, right? And it's like, okay, that's fine. But if you go mobile, this is what you get in the first 30 minutes of being at the property. You will be able to get to extract all the features of a room. This happens to be a kitchen. You'll get the floor plan in this kind of detail, and you'll get all that data that just flows right into, I'm sorry, all that data right here that flows just right into that report generator. So mobile has a lot of advantages. Now, oops, sorry, going the wrong way. Let me go back. So why do we think this is a time period? And that is because in 2026, these inspection app developers have not released new inspection apps. And there's a bunch of them that are working on it. So we think in the June to December timeframe, these guys are going to release new apps. And some of them are going to be probably really good. And so again, you know, these are the guys down here that are already using some kind of mobile technology, right? They might be using ours, they might be using a la modes, who knows what they're using, but they're already using something and they're familiar with it. Now you get to these guys over here and they're like, you know what? I got to start using mobile. It is so much more efficient. Everybody tells me it's more efficient. This is that Kellogg's cereal commercial where it says, if Mikey likes it, then it must be good. Well, when these guys come back and they say, you know what? It's saving me 2 hours at the property, right? This guy says, well, if Mikey likes it, I better bite the bullet and get some mobile hardware. So we think our prediction is that by June of 2027, 50% of appraisers will be on mobile. And I think we're kind of in this boat over here that by the end of the year, by December of 2027, about 90% will adopt mobile. So 2027 is a year of mobile. And then these laggards that just say, you know, I just refuse to do this. Everybody else is going to be so much more efficient that these guys may not get any work unless they're just doing really special stuff. So this is a big year for mobile, I think, is 2027. Now, Let's go to 2028. And what's going to happen here? Well, here's what we think. We think these report producers, as Dory says, the legacy guys, the form filler guys, we think they are going to produce new software and come over to be full appraisal producers. And we think these data analyst guys want to merge and be part of this process over here. And here's why. Let me take some water. Hang on. Here's why. No one wants to be a form filler, right? You don't wake up in the morning thinking, I just can't wait to spend 2 or 3 hours filling out this report, right? You do wake up thinking, I can't wait to go see these properties. They sound really interesting, right? Being a form filler, nobody wants to do that. And our software, which is a huge risk that we took, a huge risk. I will tell you, these guys spent 18 months, something like that, building this report generation engine. And we showed that we can create the report. This report generation can be automated. You give it the data, you click the easy button, and a minute later, this report is generated for you. So the days of being a form filler are numbered. All right? It's not today, it's not tomorrow, but it's numbered. Okay? Now, that's one reason. Here's the other reason. And that's the assembly line, right? Think back to Ford. There's a Ford F-150 coming off the assembly line every 53 seconds, right? That's efficiency. So how do you build efficiency into your appraisal process? You create a factory. It's a full appraisal production factory. And what's in this factory? Well, you have data that comes in, and here's a list of the data, right? You get public records, MLS, permit history, flood, street views, aerial views, parcel overlay, internet access. Is it connected to the internet or not, right? Green energy, market definition, market MLS. All of this stuff can come in like in the first 10 seconds, right? And then you have your analysis guys, right? TrueTrax, Data Masters, Solomon, whoever else. And then you have software that puts it all together. And then you have AI that's in here doing things for you, right? And so you have this factory. And so we have shown that we can computerize the appraisal process, right? It's not just about filling out a form. It's not just about providing software just so you can create the form. We can help you produce the appraisal. And if we can help you do that, then we can also help you be very efficient at each of the steps along the way, right? We can throw in an AI to help you do something. We can help you click a couple of buttons to answer a few questions about this or that. And by controlling, and I shouldn't say control, but by computerizing the appraisal process and doing it in such a way that you can mix and match processes for your particular property, now you have a production factory here. And so that's the other reason. It's so over here, this report gets created for you automatically. Over here, we made you super efficient. And we brought in all this information at the click of a button. And so we think that people are going to see this and they're going to say, that's a good idea, and I can do it better.
Jeff, I have a question. It's Stacy.
Sure.
Where is this data on the left-hand side here, this public record subject? Where are you getting that from?
Public sources.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not making it up.
No, I know, but I'm just curious about the how do you know if it has internet access and I mean, are you tapping into their cable company? I mean,
No, there's actually on like internet access, there is a government website that talks about it.
okay, cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We're trying to all we're trying to do is be efficient and make sure that the data we're giving you is legit.
Jeff, on that same topic, public records, not all town assessing departments report things the same. Some include
Yeah.
basement finish and living
Mhm.
areas, some don't,
Mhm.
things of that nature.
Yeah, yeah, it's true.
So comparables may be apples and oranges, you know what I mean? As far as the
Um,
data goes.
it definitely could be. Um,
Okay.
we're not going to make up data to fill in blank spaces. We're going to give you as much information as we possibly can from multiple sources so that you can make good decisions on what is the real data, what is the real value, what are
Great.
the real data points. And if we can do that, then you're ahead of the game. But we
Thank
we
you.
totally understand that not everybody has um, every data point filled in or every data point is correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's just such inconsistency with my assessor's records. I feel like I'm still going to have to go through the comps with a fine tooth comb. You know what I mean?
Sure.
A lot of my, assessors, upstairs is half a story. Oh, but there's a dormer on it. You know what I mean? Like, so right
Mhm.
there, it's still pencil to paper.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I totally understand. We're just trying to help you cut a few minutes here and there
Sure.
so that you still have to do due diligence. I mean, you can look at this picture here and it's still going to take some hours to do the appraisal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
you bet.
So Jeff, it would be a uh, an assumption that every new 3.6 appraisal software provider likely has contracts or service contracts with larger data aggregators for information from assessments, from deeds, and all of that. I would assume that is the case.
I have no idea.
Oh, so Nighthawk specifically, um, I know you're not the engineer working on this, but would you know where those, what data aggregators are being pulled in?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I don't want to go through all of that stuff right now. Uh,
Okay.
but they're all well-known
Okay.
providers of data. And we actually pay a lot of money to get to that data. So
Right.
it's not it's not some fly-by-night company trying to make a buck.
Oh, no, no, I was not assuming that. I was
No.
just, every software company, every, mobile inspection app, they all use different aggregators for grabbing public information.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So it'd be a
Yeah.
good question for, an appraiser to ask.
Oh, definitely.
Alrighty.
There should be a checklist on that.
Okay.
So yeah. But these are the two things, right?
Yep.
We've said nobody wants to be a form filler, and efficiency we need to take advantage of the appraisal process and try to make it as efficient as we can. And so we said, okay, now in a timeline, what does that look like? Well, we think so we're already here, right? This is what we built. And so, but these report producer people and new software companies are going to see what we're doing and they're going to say, you know what? I can build this software and compete. I don't have to be the first one out there. I don't even have to be the second one out there. I can be the fifth one or the 10th one. But if I have a better mousetrap, I can get market share because we're all still in this period of flux, right? What are we going to use long term? And with AI and all these other things, everything's going to get better, faster, and I mean, it's going to be like our heads spinning. So this is in starting in probably, November, October, the fourth quarter of 2027. I think you're going to start to see newer entries into this appraisers, full appraisal production software. We're not going to be the only ones. And so you start to look at this timeline, and for us, we got to get ready because we're going to have competition here, right? But you look at this and you say, okay, from an appraiser standpoint, they're buying mobile, right? And then they're going to buy this full production software. They're going to be switching from this report generators to a full appraisal production. And so this is where you need to make sure everything stitches together nicely, right? So anyway, like I said, there's just a lot of, we see a lot of flux in the market, but we see a lot of opportunity for appraisers because with all these people coming into the market, who wins? When there's competition, who wins? The consumer. And so there's going to be some really cool software coming out that says, I can help you do that appraisal quicker than this other guy. And so where does that fast computer come in? Where does that connectivity come in? You're going to be online using a really fast laptop or Surface or something, and you're going to be cooking in this area. So let's move to 2029. So this, between 2027 and 2029, that's also a year of a lot of change in the market. It's not going to be status like it's been like in 2015 where everything just stayed the same seemed like forever. Okay, so let's go to 2029. And I show this because this is the difference, right? Those guys who said, I don't want to go mobile, I don't want to change, I'm going to do everything myself, versus the assembly line. Okay? And you're going to make a choice. You have to make a choice. And so this is what we think the software, your software, is going to be like in 2029. You'll have the appraiser. They can go out and do the inspections, stay at the desk, whatever. I think there's going to be a lot of sources for data, probably more than there are today. Excuse me. I think there's going to be multiple sources of the same data. So now you can verify the data very quickly. And then there's going to be a bunch of AI agents up here these are the real robots here in the background. You'll have companies like, the True Footage, Data Master, Solomon, etc., all being part of this process. And then it'll be the decision maker over here saying, look, this looks good. This doesn't look good. Let me dive into this a little bit more. Let me make some changes. And then there'll be some compliance and review. And then you click a button, and then this report is generated for you. And all of this will be secured in the cloud. And you'll also have appraisal assistants because they can say, this is what matters. You'll say, this is what matters. That AI agent just knows to do something. When it comes back with results, you're the one who says, that result matters or it doesn't matter. And that's where the human part of this whole process comes into play. It's your expertise that decides what matters. So anyway, this is all going to be producing and giving you a dashboard of data, and you'll just look at it and say, it matters. I'm going to go with this, or it doesn't, or whatever, right? And so this is all going to be web-based. It's fairly complex, but to the appraiser, it's all going to seem really efficient. And the complexity is going to be masked by very intuitive interfaces. So I see this as this is the heyday. This is where you really enjoy appraising, because every bit of drudgery, tediousness has been removed. There's so much competition out there that everybody says, I'm going to remove that. And then everybody copies it. I'm going to do this, and everybody copies it. And pretty soon, somewhere along the line, everybody pretty much has the same functionality or base functionality, and you're just really, really efficient. Okay, so that's kind of what we see. That's our prediction.
That's a great slide, Jeff. I love that. Is there anyone here not familiar with anything that's on this slide? Like, what is TrueTracks? What is Data Master? What is Solomon Analysis? Is any of this foreign at all?
I didn't mean to do an ad for those guys. Sorry.
Yeah, so it's like this is not unfamiliar stuff, right?
I think everybody knows Data Master.
Yeah. Okay.
This is the other thing that I think can now happen once you have this kind of platform in the cloud. And that's being able to identify the influences on the property, right? And so people out there, I shouldn't say this, students, people getting their master's degree or doctor's degree in economics or real estate or one of these things, they do these studies, and they say they'll build a model that says, what's the influence of a chemical hazard area near my property? What's the influence of a gas pipeline on my property running through the backyard of my property? What's the influence of a gated community? And what's the influence of traffic noise? And let me ask you guys a question. What do you think the influence is of a gas pipeline running, right in the middle of your property and your neighbor's property? What do you think that influence is? Anybody take a guess? I'll tell you the answer: zero. It has zero influence. Now, maybe if one of those had blown up, a month ago, it might have some influence, but it really has zero influence. People just don't care. They think it's stable, it's solid, it's safe. It's not affecting my property because it's underground. End of story. Gated community, what's its influence? If it's an ornate gate, like a big gate, and your house is close to the gate, right in the front, you have an influence. If your house is in the back, zero influence. How much influence? The model will tell you. How close are you to Starbucks? Right? I think quarter mile. You got maybe this is different when Starbucks is really, really popular. 10%. Dunkin' Donuts, 5%. Right? And so you can actually figure these things out because people have built all these models. But do you have the time to run all these models? No. But does an AI agent working in the background, and maybe you have 100 agents working in the background, checking each one of these, and then you get this dashboard that says, no influence, no influence, no influence. This has influence. You got to consider it in your valuation, right? That's what you want, right? So now you're crossing all your T's and dotting all your I's. And some AI agent is your assistant helping you, telling you, here's what you need to be cognizant of. And because you are the expert, you can say, AI agent, that really doesn't matter here. and you
Is
move
this,
on.
is this available now, Jeff, or in 2029?
All of these models are available today. To run them today is another story. But all these models exist. I mean, I did not make these things up.
And where do you find them, Jeff?
There is actually an association called the American Society of Real Estate Appraisers, I believe. I believe that's what it is. I used to go to it every year, and I wanted to bring some of this analytics into our software. And so I have, or had, books and books and books of all these models. And so, you know, you have to be able to run them very quickly and then tell the appraiser, here's what I'm seeing.
So
And
this is built into your new NightHawk software.
So 2029, that's the year we're in, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
So anyway, this is the kind of stuff that's going to be available in 3 years, right? Because those AI agents can do all of this. And so when somebody comes back and says, hey, you didn't consider that gas pipeline in my backyard. Yes, I did. Right? Yes, I did. So let me move on.
Hang on one second, Jeff. I got a question.
Sure.
Where are these models generated from? In other words, is this the United States? Is it my specific market?
A lot of them are.
A lot of them are what?
A lot of them are in the States. And you know,
I
think,
mean, even if it was the state of Massachusetts, there could be a huge difference between Pittsfield and Boston.
yeah. And so I think
So,
the model would reflect the difference. And so you would run a
Oh.
model that's been tuned to your area, and somebody else would run a similar model tuned to San Francisco, for instance. So it's not
Okay.
one size fits all. I mean,
Okay,
that's
that's
just
what I
not,
wanted to know.
yeah, I mean, that's just not, right? It
And
doesn't make
and it's
sense.
the model that is really doing the analysis and not me.
Well, the model is being run. It's like regression, right? It runs, the regression is run, and then you can decide, is that a good model for regression? I mean,
I guess the only way I can do that is by doing it myself and comparing it.
you know, if you want to do that, then you can do that. Sure.
Okay,
Sure.
I ask
great.
a
Thank you.
question,
You bet.
Jeff?
Go ahead.
When is NightHawk going to be ready to use?
Well, I'll get to that in a bit. Let me just finish this up, and I'll give you a demo, and then we can talk about timing.
Can I just add something what Robert said, you know, where you said you can choose to run the model yourself as well. I think the state licensing board would expect you to run that yourself, wouldn't they?
No, of course not. Of course not.
And just blindly rely on the AI data?
Do you rely on the math in Excel?
Well,
Are the formulas in Excel correct?
yeah, but that's not subjective.
No, same thing here. It's a mathematical model.
Yeah.
Yeah,
As Robert said, I think what applies on my market, Cape Cod, is completely different than what's even on the South Shore, the North Shore of Boston.
And so this is
Or
why I
can
said, this is why I said early on, you're the one who decides if it matters or not. And
Yeah.
so you can say, none of these matter. And so tell the AI agent, don't do this. It's going to be that easy. But maybe somebody in Texas where things are heterogeneous, maybe it does matter.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're the expert.
Indeed.
Nobody here is trying to take your job away or tell you what to do. You decide what matters.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm more concerned with the cover your butt stuff. You know what I mean?
Well,
just blindly relying on things.
So don't, it's
Yeah.
that easy. don't. Don't, yeah. So,
Thank you.
so this is where I think in 3030, I'm sorry, 2030, I think the computers are going to be fast enough. I think connectivity is going to be fast enough. I think the cloud service is going to be fast enough that for simple properties, and let's say you're doing a divorce appraisal or you're doing an estate appraisal. You will be able to go into that property. You can walk through it, scan it, collect the data, get all the features out of it, and make sure that it came back with the features you think matter the most. And then maybe an hour or so later, you'll be able to tell the homeowner, I completed the appraisal. How would you like to pay me? And how would you like me to send you the report? And then you walk out of there and you're done. And I truly think that when you put all of this technology up in the cloud and you have all this power trying to make your process really efficient, this kind of stuff can happen. Not today, for sure not today, but as people start to use this kind of software and they start to say things like, I really can't use that here, but if you change it, I can do this. Those kind of things will happen. Those improvements will happen. And pretty soon, you're going to be cooking with gas. And so it's not going to happen overnight. It'll happen over, 5 years, 4 years, whatever. But I think we'll get to that point, and I think productivity will really increase when this happens, because the wild card in all of this is AI. That's the wild card. And so these models were built by somebody doing their PhD. And so, they were very robust and took a lot of things into consideration. But maybe AI can come in and copy it and maybe do it, maybe even make it better or simpler or faster or more customizable. So all you have to do is move some sliders around and say, for Cape Cod, I want you to do this. And for Texas and Austin, I want you to do this. And so there's going to be things like that. Customization is going to be a big deal because you decide what matters. You have the hammer. How do you use it? And so this is our forecast. And so everything we're building right now is building toward having this guy be able to do an appraisal on site. We want appraisals to be real time. And here's the side note to this. Who's your competition? Is it waivers with PDRs? What if the economy starts to go gangbusters and you can't handle the workload because you're still filling out a form and spending 3 hours filling out a report, right? So you want to be really, really efficient, and you want to cut out as much of this time, busybody time as you can, because you want to be able to go to that lender and say, instead of doing a waiver with a PDR, which takes whatever days and whatever, I can do that report for you the day I do the inspection.
Good point, Jeff. Jeff, we're a
Okay.
little after 4. I want to make sure everyone can stay and see your demo.
Yeah. So let me get to the demo here. That's my next slide, actually.
Oh, beautiful.
So, and I'm going to go through this fairly quickly. Let's see, where is it? Where is it? Right here. Okay, so this is NightHawk, and these are all the modules in the workflow. And so I'll just go through these kind of quickly, and I'm not sure, I don't think I want to go through every module, but you have status, and let me just tell you what status is right now. This is status. You can communicate with the AMC and tell them where you are in the process. These are the data sources that came in, right? Sales history, public records, so forth and so forth. This is public records that came in, and you want to look at this, right? This is public records. And so look at transaction history, look at all these things, right? Who's the property owner, all this kind of stuff. Okay, MLS. This is the property. Somebody picked this. But with MLS, you also get photos. And so now, here's the property that I'm going to be appraising. This looks pretty good. By the way, those of you who live in Florida, this is 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2,000 square feet. The lot's 10,000. It was built, 25 years ago, and it's listed for $565,000. Is a property like this worth only $500,000? Is that a going price? Does anybody know? No? Okay. I thought this was a really low price, but maybe not. But anyway, because you get all the photos, you can quickly see what this house looks like, right? You get so instantly from starting the appraisal, you can start to get a very good view of this property. All right. Okay, let me put this away. Okay, now aerial imagery. This is pictometry. This is the different points of view: north, west, east, and south. This image right here is too large for what it is, but normally you'd see the whole property outline. The street view, you can look around. This is an old street view, and you can see it's really old because this neighborhood has not been built up yet. But this is what it looked like whenever this was done. But very quickly, you can say, okay, this is an old street view. It doesn't matter. Now, here's permit history. And you can start to see that there's a lot of permits taken in 2022, right? A lot of remodeling and whatever, $30,000, re-roofing and whatever, right? And then those of you guys were asking about which data is correct. Well, you get to blend it. Like here's what one source said, here's what another source said. We tell you when there's a difference and so forth. And so you can do those things. We have an inspection manager. I'm not going to go through that. There's no time. But you can get through all these details, right? There's a lot of modules where you can just fill in or just say no. There's nothing of positive or negative influence here. Like what's the subject's view? Well, it's a residential and it's a canal. And what do the GSEs want? Well, they want you to tell them this. Is it full view? It's full view. And what is it, the primary view? What's the impact on value? And you're done. It's like click, 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 and you handled it. So that's what we're striving for. And so I'm just going to go through these things pretty quickly. This is the flood map that came in. It's in a flood zone. And so you put it in there. It's probably adverse. Or maybe you say it doesn't matter. I don't know. Here's the dwelling information. Here's the interior information. Here's the, are there any outbuildings? There's none. So forth and so forth and so forth. And like I said, there's all these, is there any green energy? No. Is there any obsolescence? No. What's the condition and quality? Put them in there. Highest and best use. This module is actually going to expand because when you have to calculate highest and best use, there's a lot of math in there, need to know site value and so forth. Here is your market area library. So you can have multiple markets in here that you appraise in. And then you start into your overall market analysis. Here's sales, here's listing charts. And this kind of tells you where the subject lies in terms of everybody else.
And all of this is pulled in from your modeling embedded in NightHawk.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And so you can get trends for last 12 months, 6 months, 3 months. It's like, what's happened in the last 3 months? Okay, it's going down.
Jeff, I have a
Um,
question. It's Stacy.
Sure.
So at some point you have to tell your model, what does it go by? Just the address that you start off with at the very beginning, and then it pulls all of this info?
Yes.
So you just put in an address and this is what you get. So what if the subject property is not even on MLS? What if it's, something else?
Like it's in new construction.
Well, no. What if it's like
Yeah.
refi, or what if it's not
Yeah.
in MLS?
You know, if it's not an MLS and it's not in public records, then a lot of this doesn't work.
Right. Okay.
Okay. I
Just
mean,
checking.
yeah, because you don't have the data for it. This is once you have overall market, you go to subject market analysis, and I won't go through all this, but you're just filtering down and filtering down, and now you're looking at the subject market, right? You fill out, here's a summary of the subject market, and then you can go in and if you want, you can do some regression analysis. You can do some comparison. This is a way that we put in so you can filter down which comparables are the ones that I want to look at, right? And so we can just say, for starters, give me all the ones that are closest to the property, right? And then I can say, give me the ones that have a similar GLA. And that's all I really want to rank on. I will say rank them. And this is what will happen. And so you see that, number 1 is over here, 7 is here, and that's because of GLA. GLA had more importance. If we come in here and just say, I don't even want to consider GLA. Just do proximity. What are the ones? I want to make sure this thing's working, right? And you can see, it ranks them by proximity. And you can actually say what's more important, which matters to me, right? And that's what those sliders are for. So anyway, it comes out there, and then we have our adjustment factors, and then here is our worksheet for the sales grid, and we built this just for the sales grid. Let me see here. Hang on one second. You can add comparables. You can move them around if you want. Hang on. Let me scroll over just a little bit. Here we go. Let me go to the top. So here's all. I don't know if you guys have seen one of these sections, but there's 167 rows. And so we can expand each section. We can collapse each section. If we go to the top and we want to expand that, here's our comparables that came in. And here's this one I just added. I can delete it, and or I can continue to add. I can show rows that always have to be in the report, and then you get to rows that are just relevant. If you think it's relevant, then you can add this row to your report. And so you got to manage all of that stuff. So we have these little toggles in here. Let me bring this thing that just says show the relevant rows. I don't want to get confused with everything else, right? And so there's a lot of stuff that goes on here. But we're trying to make this work so that you can essentially fly through 167 of these rows and only deal with the ones you want to deal with, and all the other ones don't matter. So you go through all this stuff, and then here is the transfer history. Here is, they want to know which ones you analyze and which ones you did not. So those that you did not will come in here, and that becomes part of your report. Here's the location map. You can modify that once you're completed. Site valuation. we have, the allocation method, extraction, sales comparison. Sales comparison is kind of cool because we bring in the comps that you're using for sales comparison, and we look at the public record information for it and get the what the assessor says the value is, and then can extract all that. So there's that. There's the cost approach, rental. There's the income approach. General. If you want to add more stuff, right? We allow you to do that. And then here's reconciliation. Reconciliation is a little bit different than the other ones. We show you what the current values were. What's the contract price? What's the sale price? What did regression come in at? We're thinking about bringing in AVM. And then what's your conclusion, right? And then what's the market range? And then where does the subject fit in versus all the other properties, right? And so now you can do a pretty good reconciliation, sign it, you're done. You come over here, if there's a revision, this would pop in, and then there's compliance. Now, I don't know if you know it or not, but the GSEs have created a compliance checker, and we are enforcing it. So before you can finish, you have to check compliance with the GSEs. And if it comes back okay, you're good to go. And then you click the easy button over here, and here's the report on that property. And this took about a minute to produce. And so there you go. And then you are set to transmit it. And one of the other things we do is we track your time. And how much time did you spend on it? And what's the total time with revisions and going back and editing and whatever. Because I think it's really important to know how much money you're making per hour. And the more money you make per hour means you're really efficient. And so we want to show you that as well. So that's NightHawk. And when is it going to be ready? We think we will be verified by the GSE sometime in March. And then we'll be working over the next 4 to 6 weeks and getting it ready for beta testing. And probably in that April timeframe, we will start having people try to break it. And so we'll
eating your shoe.
Pardon?
Oh, I'm sorry, Jeff. Is NightHawk going to have a GPAR in addition to the UAD?
No, not right now. The GPAR, all the other forms that the VA needs, that USDA needs, that FHA needs, are going to be in click forms. And so both of those products will be available for as long as we see that they're needed.
And this is for
Okay,
your
thanks.
mobile device. It's for your phone, or if you're using an iPad.
Our inspection app is right here. And this inspection app, the way we built it is for a tablet. It's not for an iPhone. We looked at an iPhone, and it's so small, even if you turn it sideways, that you're just, tapping and tapping and tapping till your finger wears off. And this way you can see everything. And the way we built it was that, let's assume this is built for a single family. Let's assume that you're doing a 2 to 4 with 4 units. And so you could just add, I don't know what you can see right here, the other units just appeared in here. So now this became an inspection app for a 4-unit property. And it's that simple. And so I think we have a really good foundation for it. And so that's what we're doing.
And you're taking photos with this app?
Yes.
Okay. And the
Yeah.
sketch, you are creating the sketch in the app, or you importing the sketch from somewhere else?
Nope.
right in. Okay, so it's just,
Yeah, you can sketch it in here.
yeah, that's like your
We,
basic sketch.
oh, it's very basic.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Excuse me. Um,
And it's a sketch using what? Is it using LiDAR, Jeff?
no, not this one.
Okay.
This one this app right here has been built so you can use it on an iPad, an Android tablet, Surface computer, Mac OS. I don't know what else is out there, but you can be on the internet or off the internet, and it all works. And so in order to do all of that, we could not standardize on just the iPad. And so that's what we did for the beginning. Is we said, let's just cover all the bases. And this gets people collecting the data very quickly and collecting the right data very quickly.
So, Jeff, so you're saying that you're kind of pitching this to us that you're going to be able to complete the appraisal, the entire appraisal on your tablet and upload it, or are you expecting to have to go back to the office, finalize it, and then send it?
Oh, yeah, you won't be able to do the appraisal in this right here.
Okay, so is there an upload, download
Yes,
thing? Okay.
yes.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And we have an inspection manager and all kinds of things that are not going to be part of our verification process. So they're not there for me to show you. But it's if you use ClickForms and you use our Inspect a Lot inspection app, it works pretty much the same way.
So Jeff, an appraiser gets an assignment, and does he go into this first and pull some information like you showed us, aerials and things and public information, blah, 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 set it up, then head to the house, open the NightHawk software there, and start to go through all of the UAD questions in the inspect?
Dory, how people work is going to be up to them.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of this we built with regard to how would we want to work, right? And so it's like, okay, I got an order. What does this property even look like, right? So by starting the appraisal, I get a really good idea of what the property is. And so, and I get data from multiple sources that I can then say, this is correct, this is not correct, right? And then if I want, I can take that data and I can upload it into the inspection app. I'll be out of the property using the inspection app. It's already partially filled out, maybe a lot filled out. And I can go through there and take the pictures and verify that the data is correct. And then I can upload those pictures to a company like RESB, and it comes back and it says, here's what they detected out of their analysis of the photos. And I can say, oh yeah, I missed this, or thank you very much. This is what I already have. And here's the conditions that they're scoring things. And then all that information will come back down into NightHawk. It'll then be displayed in a way that whoever's at the desktop can review it. Yes, this looks good. This doesn't look good. This is garbage, whatever, right? It all comes back to what matters. And then you say, it all looks good. Hit the transfer button, and all that information transfers through all these different modules. So the views, the kitchen, the flooring, all that stuff that the GSEs want to know, all gets automatically entered for you because you collected it correctly at the website.
So all the information the GSEs are looking at the physical inspect are in your inspect application.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a big deal because all the inspection apps that we've seen that are coming on the market, for whatever reason, are not getting all the data. So
Interesting.
we think ours is a pretty good one, because it it has we looked at we dotted our I's and we crossed our T's. Let me put it that way.
So when someone opens the inspection app, every single question the GSEs are looking for is there. And it's just a matter of the
Well,
appraiser
what Dory,
choosing something or
let's
clicking
let's
something.
be Dory, let's be reasonable.
Okay.
All the information that you would collect at the property,
Yeah.
that's there. All the other information that you would not get at the property is not there. Right? I mean, we're not going to, you can't do the sales comparison at the property.
Oh, no, 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 no. No, I'm talking
Okay.
about just the physical inspection of the property itself.
Yeah, sure. It's all there.
It's all there.
It,
Okay.
we looked at it and we said, it has to be there. Right? Because the GSEs want to know. And they want to know the ceiling heights. They want to know, how much area is unused, or they call it unfinished.
Right.
All these data points
Are there.
is what they want to collect. And so we have to collect it.
So to go back, I mean, it would behoove, appraiser to embrace some of this, inspection technology and other things that they can get through all these data points in the new appraisal software that is required, not a physical, paper clip trying to answer all the questions.
Yeah. You know, so I know quite a few people who've done some UAD reports, and I've heard they're at the property for 3 hours, right? Or they're filling out the report and it takes them 5 hours. And this is the kind of stuff that where efficiency needs to come into the picture.
Hmm.
You can't be at the and they are at the property because they really don't know what to collect, so they're taking a million photos.
Right,
So,
right.
right? And so it's like, why, right? Why not just ask the right questions and you collect the right information, and you collect the information that matters to be collected, and everything else you just brush off, and you're there for 20 minutes. That's what we're aiming for.
A 20-minute inspect.
Well, maybe if it's a 5,000 square foot home, maybe it's an hour. I don't know, but I mean, you get the idea, right? You don't need to be there for 3 hours taking, 200 photos.
I'm sorry to be asking such pinpointed things, but I'm a practical kind of person. Anyone, I apologize, Jeff, you did a great job. Thank you. Does anyone have a question or a comment for Jeff?
I'm curious, back to the sketching thing, because currently I use Cubicasa, which
Yeah.
I haven't measured in ages. So if I use this NightHawk, do I have to measure the rooms and then put the information in?
Right now,
Since
yes, but there's nothing that's going to prevent you from using Cubicasa and just adding that floor plan into the report. You don't
Okay.
you don't have to use our sketcher.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
yeah.
great.
Good
Yeah,
question.
no.
Good
It's
question. Thank you, Ellen.
and just one other note. You don't even have to use our inspection app. We plan on integrating with all the other inspection apps that are coming on the market. Whether we think they're good or not, we're probably going to integrate with them. And because some appraisers are going to want them, and for whatever reason. And so we're not in a position to say, no, you shouldn't use that. It's like Cubicasa. It's a great product. I measured my house with Cubicasa, and it came in with like, I don't know, 10 feet or something like that of the assessor's value. It's a great product, right? So why not continue using it?
So Jeff, if anyone here was interested in learning more about NightHawk, do you have any free demo software or something that someone could play with?
Nope.
Not yet. Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
We plan on being verified real soon. And
Okay.
once we're verified, then we need to make sure that we have it hooked up to our internal so we can track usage and things like that. And once we do that, then we're going to open it up to people to try it out.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so we're probably, let's see, mid-April. Mid-April or late April. That's probably a good time frame. We will be opening it up for people to bang on it, and we're gonna toggle how many people use it, because when somebody uses NightHawk for the first time, we then want to sit down with them and say, what did you like and what did you not like? And then jump on the things they don't like. Because if it's something that we think a lot of other people are not going to like, we're going to fix it. And so we want to be in that mode where we can, by that June timeframe, July timeframe, have a really, really good product. We think we have a good idea. Let me put it that way. We think computerizing the appraisal process and making each of the steps really efficient is a great idea. It's a great idea, and it's all in how is that idea brought to market? How is it executed? And here's one example, and then we probably need to cut this off. But the sales contract, right? Realtor's going to send it to you. You're going to read it. You tell somebody, there is a contract. I read it, right? I got to fill in all this information. And it's probably going to take, I don't know, 10 minutes, right? To look at all and see if there's any concessions and things like that. Well, this is where we can train one of these AI agents to read it for you. And so you can drop it in there. It'll read it for you. It'll extract all the information, and then it's going to highlight where it got the information. And so then you can scroll through that contract, look at all these yellow highlighted text areas, dates and amounts or whatever, and say, yeah, that's what I would have done. But now you just saved 10 minutes and you got everything done in one. And that's the difference, right? So it's all in the execution. So again, I think we have a really good idea. We've proven that you don't have to sit there for 3 hours and create a report or type a report. And now it's all about how can we help you produce that report really efficiently. And so that's where we're at.
Jeff, I just have a quick question. I do like this. Does sound like it's going to be very useful and usable. But my question is, in general, is this going to be priced like one price for the whole package, or then you add on if you want to use the inspection part or the sketch part, or however? Have you figured?
So we just talked about this morning. The sketch is going to be free. The inspection app is going to be free. But the product, NightHawk itself, because we have to purchase all this data, we're going to charge on a per use basis. And what we charge, we don't know yet. But here's kind of where we're at in terms of
Okay.
price. It will be per use, but we think we can save you maybe 4 hours on every appraisal. And what is that worth? I don't know, if you're making 150 an hour and we save you 4 hours, it's worth something. And so maybe we'll charge you $100. No, it'll be a pretty reasonable amount, but that's kind of where we're at on it. We think we can, if we work everything out, we think compared to the guys with the form fillers, we think we can save you 3 to 4 hours. And is that worth $25? maybe, something like that. So we're kind of, we haven't settled on a price.
Okay,
But,
thank you.
You bet.
Okay,
So Jeff,
Jeff and Dory, we've kind of reached the end of our time. Um,
Yeah.
and it sounds like there may be a couple more questions. I need to leave to get to another meeting, but I can turn this over to Jeff if you've got a little bit more time, and Dory, you do, for anybody who wants to stay.
Sure. Thank you,
And then
Steve.
Jeff, you're a co-host, you'll become the host, and you
Okay.
can then end the meeting when everything is done. So
Sure.
thank you very much. Thank you all for being here, and have a great afternoon.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Steve.
Stephen.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Dave.
Hey, let's take on a couple more questions and then we'll call it an afternoon.
so I have just a question. I use
Sure.
Synapse and Spark to do, comp imports and all that. And I just want to see, as far as this seems like it's fairly similar, but your online application is far more pretty looking. So I just want to get your idea. I'm sure you compare the two. What would you say would be the big differences?
Oh, in some areas, we're going to be very similar. In other areas, they're going to have an advantage, and in some areas, we're going to have an advantage. But here's where we are in terms of, so we're really good friends with Brandon and his brother. And so we've already told them that if they would like to be integrated into NightHawk, then we'd be more than willing to bring them into the picture. Same thing with Solomon, and same thing with Data Master. And I haven't talked to TrueTracks, but if they're into integration, then we can bring them in. And a lot of this is that if you're already used to their analytics, then why not use their? Why not continue that? We're not going to have a monopoly on all the good ideas. And Spark's pretty good.
Good questions. Anyone else?
Okay.
Well,
Well, let's start wrapping it up. And, I think from this presentation, I hope the thing you take out of this is that there's just a huge amount of potential to be very successful and have technology just help you start cooking with gas when you do these appraisals. And the drudgery of filling out a report is going to go away. The analytics is drudgery of getting into Excel and doing all that work yourself. That's going to go away. There's going to be a lot of shortcuts out there. Shortcuts is probably not the right word, but efficiency steps. And so I just think that appraising is going to be a great profession into the future. And it's all about really good customer service and efficiency. And you want to be like Ford. Every 53 seconds, a pickup comes off the assembly line. And so you need to be able to produce these things really fast and provide that service to homeowners and to lenders and just own the business. So we think it's a rosy picture out there. So I hope you do too.
yes, I do. Jeff,
Okay.
Jeff,
Dory, thank you.
you're wonderful. Your insights about the industry, about where the technology is going, it's invaluable. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
You're very welcome, and thanks for the invite, and thank you to everybody for the questions, and hope you enjoyed it. And with that, I am going to, I guess, stop sharing. And
Jeff, if anyone has any questions that they thought of afterwards, is it okay to share your contact information?
Sure, sure,
Okay, great.
sure.
So if you have any questions, send them to Steve at mbrea.org, and he'll make sure that Jeff gets them.
Okay,
Great.
okay, guys. Thank you very
Thanks, Jeff.
much.
Thank
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank
you, everyone.
You bet.